This question is, why do you put your games up for sale and when? What are your responsibilities do you have to fulfill? I don't think that's good grammar, but I'm just reading it as it says it. Especially if you release it in development, i.e. Minecraft Cortex Command. Should you sell it even if you have 3+ years left in development? There's a bunch of questions in there. Okay, first part, why do you put your games up for sale and when? The why of it is, it's one among many different ways to make a living selling games. Making games. So you could either sell them, or you could put advertisements in them, or you could sell the game rights themselves to sponsors like Flash portals, or you could just try to do pure donations, which works almost for nobody. It works for a few people, but almost for nobody. Selling is the most common way to do it, although I'm doing a slightly less common way when people could choose whatever price they want above a certain amount, which covers the basic fees. And I guess if they don't like that, they could always just torrent it, since there's like a working torrent. So it's that's like Jason Rohrer once said on the Take Source forum, that games are basically pay what you want anyway. You could either buy them or not buy them. And a lot of people choose not to buy them, so doing pay what you want is just a way to officially recognize that people could already pay whatever they want and allow them more freedom over what they want to pay. Although, of course, a lot of people just pay the minimum anyway. Like, my minimum is $175 right now. People just pay $175. That's the most common thing. But the average is more like $3 to $4. And some people pay more. The most is like $105, which Star Maker paid. She's probably the Immortal Defense's biggest fan. Although there's a few other competitions for that. A few other people competing for that. Like, there's one person who beat every single level on the hardest 100% difficulty. There's another person who's modding the game to make a different adventure with the same engine. So I guess those three would be the biggest fans. Now, when is the question? When do you put it up for sale? Like, do you put it up for sale before it's finished with pre-orders or after? Minecraft is famous in that it put it up for sale long before it is finished, when it has very little content, and people started buying it even then. And that was very successful. It's probably the indie game that's sold the most copies of any indie game. It sold over 1 million copies, although another competition for that would be Snood, which is a terrible game and very ugly graphics, but because it had very little competition, it was the first PC port of Puzzle Bobble, which is sort of like a clone of it, that has sold over 1 million copies too. But Minecraft is definitely in the top 10 of best-selling indie games ever, and certainly the highest of the modern indie games. So it's easy to think, you can't argue with that. You might as well put your game up for sale as early as possible, but it depends on the game, really. Like, since it's a free-form sandbox game, you could release it much earlier than you could a traditional series of levels or platform or a role-playing game or something like that. So you have to consider that context. So I'd say that as long as people want to buy it, then you could sell it. What are your responsibilities? The next part of the question is, what are your responsibilities do you have to fulfill, especially if you release it in development? A lot of people who bought Minecraft early are like, get angry when Notch doesn't work on the game enough according to their tastes and doesn't update it fast enough, even though he updates it like once every week or something. So I think the danger of releasing it early is that you'll disappoint fans who want it to be developed faster than you could even possibly develop it. So, but I guess so that's the responsibility, is if you're selling it early, it's not actually a responsibility, but sort of like an expectation that you'll work on it quickly and finish it quickly. But it depends on the person. A lot of people are more understanding and don't care how long you take to finish the game, as long as it's good when it's finished. It's Cortex Command was mentioned. It's a special case in that it still has pre-orders, even though it's updated very rarely. Like, there was a period of about 2 years when it wasn't updated at all. So I think that's a bit too much. I mean, I wouldn't want to sell a game if I wasn't updating it at least every half a year or something, like every 6 months. Because 2 years is like forever when it comes to games. Should you even sell it if you have 3+ years of development? Yeah, I mean, as long as it's playable and as long as people want to buy it, sure. I guess that answers all the parts of the question. If not, ask me more questions. Okay, bye.